All right, good morning, everybody. It is December 19th, 2024, 8:30 a.m. here in Miami, Florida. And we have the transiting sun, human design gate 11.6. We're at the end of Sagittarius. We're going to have the solstice either today or tomorrow, depending on where you are and depending on... I got to look into it. I think it's actually... I've heard today, but I think it's tomorrow. If it's today, it's going to be late. But what is the solstice? It's when the sun enters into Capricorn. And solstice means, like, I think the original translation is something like the sun stands still. And there is this moment of, like, apparent stillness that exists when the sun enters into Capricorn and to Cancer, which is a little bit like, I'm not going to get into it because I actually don't know that much about it. But I will say this is what I wanted to talk about, which is about these cuspal moments where we're having the sun go from mutable signs to cardinal signs. And it happens with Gemini into Cancer, and it happens with Sagittarius into Capricorn. And it also happens with Pisces into Aries and to Virgo into Libra. But those are the equinoxes. What I really want to talk about here is the difference, what's going on when we have these seasonal shifts. Why are spring, summer, fall, and winter all such a big deal? Those are the cardinal signs. Because when the sun, it's really like the cardinal signs begin a new cycle of the sun. And it's all about light in astrology. So when we have, and this is in the northern hemisphere, when we have the sun entering into Capricorn, what we have is the longest night of the year, meaning that the darkness and the light are at its greatest difference where darkness is reigning. In the summer, in the northern hemisphere, we have the longest day of the year, where the sun has its complete and total, longest maximum over the night. In the equinoxes, spring and fall, that we have an equality between day and night. So this big deal, this is a huge deal. This is what causes plants to grow versus start fruiting. This is a big thing in the natural world. So this is like when we actually have the 0 degree solstice points, we have the sun at an extreme of either darkness or light. And right before the solstice point, which is like right now, is really when the extreme exists. So when we have Gemini handing it over as a sign to Cancer, it's really that last degree of Gemini where it's the most light. Because then the sun is going to have its peak at the 0 degree of Cancer, and then it's going to start declining. It's basically like going to the mountaintop is at the solstice point. And then it's like as soon as that peak experience happens, it starts to get, the days start to get shorter. And likewise, this is like, okay, so when we're in Sag now, in the northern hemisphere, the last part of Sag, it's when the nights are the longest. We're going to have the longest night of the year coming up on the solstice, but then as soon as sun goes into Capricorn, but then as soon as that happens, as soon as we get over that Capricornian hump, it's going to start to get a little bit lighter. The days are going to start to grow and grow and grow until they get back to the equal footing of Aries in the equinox point. Again. So what I'm actually saying is that right now in the northern hemisphere, it's the dark before the dawn. It is times are, the sun is its least bright right now, right here, right now. And where the tide is about to turn. But before it does, there's this feeling of that could be like the dark night of the soul. And it's interesting to me that here in the human design transit for this sun is the gate of ideas, peace, but it's also a gate that is connected to light. And the fear of the 11th gate is the metaphorical and literal fear of darkness. This can be seen in children as a strong fear of dark places, even, it says here on the app. But it's the light of the, like, white magic, they say. And it's just interesting that we have this energy here at the time when you could say we most need it. The actual solstice human design gate is in gate 10. So I'm going to make probably another video about that once we actually have the transit into Capricorn. But because it is a big seasonal shift. I just want to say, like, before that happens, what does it mean to be at the end of this mutability? And how can we take advantage of this energy, which is unique and also could be kind of overlooked or mistaken as not being that big of a deal, when as a matter of fact, it's the solstice turning point is a big deal, but how big of a deal is it before the point turns? Really big. This is when all the pressure is on. This is when you're feeling the most lost, the most in the dark, the most confused, the most alone. And that's a perfectly appropriate way to feel right now, is what I'm trying to say. Okay? And what is the comfort that gate 11 brings us? It's in the mind. It's in the ajna. So you have to really take a little bit of mental responsibility for how you're feeling sometimes, because a lot of what people are going through, they have a lot more control over if they can access this very powerful computer in their brain, their mind, and program it a little bit better. More conscious programming, instead of just accepting the programming and the conditioning from all kinds of sources that you may or may not want. So what is the gate 11 about? It's about ideas. It's about peace. It's about the peace that ideas can bring. But what is it? When we get to this 6th line, the line name is adaptability. And Neptune is exalted here. The innate awareness that all forms are transitory. The realization that ideas lead to change and are changeable. Change is real, babes. It's not going to be like this forever, okay? And as soon as you can change your mind, the rest will follow. So I just want everybody who's having a rough time out there, I know a lot of you are, and you know what? Some of you aren't. That's awesome too. Just realize that there's a lot of light available, both internally and on the way. All right, everybody, have a good day.